It is August 1940. World War II is in full swing, and since the Soviet Union will not be invaded for another 10 months, Hitler's Wehrmacht can fully concentrate on the Western Front. Although on which front? The Netherlands, Belgium, and France have fallen victim to a blitzkrieg, and in just 6 weeks in May and June 1940, all three countries had to capitulate. The only ones still resisting are the British. Their Royal Air Force is fighting the Battle of Britain with the German Luftwaffe. But now in August, it is taking one blow after another. German bombers are destroying important airports, ports, factories, and military installations, and the British Air Force is fighting for its bare survival. But that is about to change. On August 24, 1940, a group of German bombers mistakenly targeted London. Instead of the factories in Rochester, they dropped several bombs on London. The British RAF therefore attacked Berlin in retaliation the following day. The damage was not great, but Hitler was furious at the audacity, and he ordered a change in the previously victorious tactics. He wanted the Luftwaffe to ease up on bombing strategic and military targets. Instead, they focused on London as much as possible. He presented his plan in Berlin on September 4, 1940. Before a gathering of nurses and social workers, he declared, "The time will come when one of us will break, and it will not be National Socialist Germany." Three days later, on September 7, 1940, at around 4 p.m., the British radar system recorded the largest air formation the Luftwaffe had ever sent to Great Britain. 348 bombers accompanied by 617 fighters, so a total of around 1,000 aircraft, with the sole target being London and its inhabitants. The British bombers are unable to stop such a massive attack, and so German bombs destroy the docks and more bombs fall on the city center. Residential areas in the east are also hit. 440 people die in the raid, and 1,300 are injured. London is in flames, its inhabitants in shock. After this daytime raid, the Luftwaffe returns just a few hours later in the dark, and hundreds of tons of explosive and incendiary bombs are dropped on London. But this is only the beginning. A seemingly endless series of 57 nights of air raids of fear, fire, and suffering is coming. Only once will London be able to breathe a sigh of relief, on the night of the 2nd to the 3rd of November, when bad weather prevents the raid. According to Hitler's plans, the bombing of London was supposed to demoralize its inhabitants and thus contribute to the rapid surrender of Great Britain. But instead, the opposite happens. Despite the huge loss of life, despite hundreds of thousands of bombed homes, Londoners admirably pull together and show no signs of wanting to surrender to German power. Despite the air raids, the city tries to live as normally as possible, at least as much as possible in the given situation. People hide underground at night. For example, the metro is transformed into a huge air raid shelter. Its stations become home to 170,000 people. Soldiers and volunteers install thousands of bunk beds here. There are makeshift sanitary facilities, and special metro trains deliver food, tea, and cocoa. In some stations, doctors perform surgeries. In others, films are shown. In others, reading rooms are created. The behavior of the British royal family is a tremendous encouragement for the whole country. Despite the Germans bombing Buckingham Palace, the king and his family refuse to leave London, and the Queen Mother, Elizabeth II, even personally helps people affected by the air raids. St. Paul's Cathedral has become a symbol of London's steadfastness. This photo, which appeared on the Daily Mail's front page, shows it clearly. In the middle of the ruins, the dome of the cathedral rises to the sky, which, as if by a miracle or by the will of fate, escaped destruction. Hitler's decision to bomb London ultimately did not bring him any luck. It did not damage British morale in any way, but rather strengthened it. But it also proved to be strategically wrong. It gave the Royal Air Force bases decimated by previous air raids enough time to breathe. While the Luftwaffe was dropping bombs on the capital, British soldiers were hastily repairing the runways of the airports, and ground personnel were putting together damaged aircraft. And the command was given space to regroup forces and establish longer-term battle plans. Although it did not seem completely impossible at the beginning of August when we began our expedition, the British Air Force gradually began to have a plan, and the Battle of Britain came to a turning point. By mid-September, British fighters were dominating the airspace, and it was clear that the Germans would not win the expected victory. On September 17, the German Army High Command issued an order to postpone the planned invasion if the bombing campaign succeeded indefinitely. The Luftwaffe itself began to significantly reduce its activity over the United Kingdom, and in 1941, the vast majority of its aircraft were transferred to the Eastern Front. The British had won the battle for their country,